Hi, and welcome back to Next Level Leadership with Sissel Anderson. For those new here, this platform highlights inspiring women who have taken bold steps in their lives and careers, making a real impact. My goal is to motivate and empower women to pursue their dreams, no matter how big or small. And today I'm honored to introduce someone I deeply admire, Arlette. She's a top athlete, successful entrepreneur, and has dedicated her career to helping people age up well. With over 30 years in geriatrics and orthopedics, Arlette blend physical therapy, redox health, and movement performance to unlock potential at any age. So what I love most about Arlette is her unwavering commitment to helping others live vibrant, healthy lives. And from bold decisions at a young age, to building a mission-driven career, Arlette is continuously inspiring other people, and she is really dedicated to help people age up well. So I'm excited for you to hear more about her story and how she's transforming lives. So let's dive into Arlette's journey and discover how she's leading the way in aging with vitality. So thank you for coming, Arlette.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. So, Arlette, your business is built around helping people age up well. What sparked this mission? And if you can, how did it become the foundation of your career?
Well, it's a very loaded and very, very big question. I'll try to kind of condense it into something a little bit more small. I am a physical therapist by training in the United States. And I am board certified in geriatrics and orthopedics. And I'm also a lymphedema therapist. And I spent a lot of time in my earlier career as a physical therapist in more neurological diseases and spinal cord injuries, and then transitioned to sports medicine and orthopedics. And I am an athlete, as you said, and so I'm still am a competitive athlete at the age of 60. And I saw other people also continuing their athletic endeavors into active older lives. And so my career has ever been evolving. I've never sat still. I've always looked at opportunities, but nobody else wanted to do it. I would do it. I got lymphedema certified because no one else wanted to do that. I really went down an entire cancer rehab venue and adventure for many years, and ended up being the president of the oncology special interest group for the American Physical Therapy Association, because nobody else wanted to see these patients or wanted to learn about it. So I think my career has always been driven by curiosity and by a continual zest for learning more. And so when I turned 50, I realized that, wow, all of a sudden the world has stopped, and all of a sudden you are medically a geriatric person, and there's only one way to treat that. And there's the before 50 and the after 50. And, this was 10 years ago. And now it is a bit sexy to talk about aging and talking about longevity, which happens to be a word I don't like. But, those are the words that are being anti-aging, also a word I don't like. So now it's sexy to talk about that. Even menopause is become a very everyday, we need to talk about this. Well, 10 years ago, even people didn't. I remember having a conversation about 10, 12 years ago with someone to talk about, we need to really embrace aging and talk about that. And I was told, oh, no. Nobody wants to talk about aging. That's not a sexy thing. Well, I find it really sexy when people can live their lives in a really vibrant way into many decades of their life, because the alternative is really not pretty and is certainly not sexy. So to me, there's nothing better than having people be healthy and thriving in life at any age.
Yeah. And also I've dived a little bit into your knowledge and what you've done, and you've always been on the top of with your peers. top of your peers. I know that you are very knowledgeable. You are one of the most knowledgeable people I've met, I think, within this area. And I really, really love for people to listen to you and learn from you. And what you also do is that you bring together your knowledge in geriatric and orthopedics and redox health to offer a distinctive approach to aging. Can you share how this might blend, this blend of expertise benefits your clients, for instance, or in general the population if they discover it?
Well, thank you. That's, I take that as a compliment. I think compartmentalizing medicine or medical knowledge has not served us very well. And it has led us to this point in medicine where we really don't know what to do with healthy older people. And we really don't know much about what happens when the body ages. So on the theme of always wanting to learn things, about, like I said, about 10 years ago, I decided I wasn't going to be a geriatric person like the medical model wanted me to be. And I certainly wasn't going to age that way. And I knew there were other things that were out there and that were just starting. And one of the things, way long ago when I was in college, my foundation is in physiology, and I always really loved cell biology. So I have a very solid understanding of what happens within a cell, and I dusted off that knowledge. And by doing so, I found out a lot about the cell signaling issues in every cell and what happens. And I stumbled across technology that is very unique, and it's one of its kind, available to the general public, and that's redox signaling cell supplements, and they are through ASEA. And, I wasn't really interested in building a new career of any sort, but I wanted to learn more about this and was super curious about it. In the world of supplementation and people spending so much money on supplements, and I also did take supplements, but you have to be careful what you take. They also are, when they're effective, they can also really counteract one another. And then, if our body is aging, we metabolize things very differently. And so it's very important to have a healthy cellular system in order to take on the healthy foods we eat and to take on the supplements that we also use. And so I took a pretty deep dive into that, and started also taking the supplement of redox signaling molecules, and I have not stopped. It's been almost 5 years, and I think it has helped me enormously with keeping at my game and keeping healthy, preventing things that might sneak in here and there. And I think that I've seen, working with my patients, it's been the added little plus that was missing. There are people really interested in eating organic or being vegan or using XYZ supplements, but then they still had aches and pains. They still didn't recover so well if they were athletes. They still had fibromyalgic type pain. They still had gut issues. They still had brain fog. Half the population in the world goes through something called menopause, and the other half knows nothing about it. And those are typically the people in medicine that are treating the other half that is afflicted with this syndrome and this life issue. So I also became very interested in that and learned that if you support your hormones and you work with keeping your cells healthy, you can also really drive that into a very much more pleasant situation. So yes, I have blended all of my knowledge together, and it's come out to be a very unique approach to aging, but it seems to be working quite well for my clients, and it's certainly working for myself and my husband.
Mm. Yeah, I saw an interview the other day with Jane Fonda, and she said, well, everybody can be young, but not everybody can be old. And we both know that being old is something we all want and wish for, but we want to be healthy, strong, and as young as possible inside also. So, yeah.
Well, I think the goal is to prevent getting sick.
Yeah.
and to maintain our level of involvement, both cognitively and physically. You know, I think people don't talk about that too much or not enough. And hormones play a really big role in that. Our muscle tissue plays an enormous role in that. It's also something people have poo-pooed for a long time, and now it's like, oh, now it's sexy to have muscles. You know, I used to hide my muscles 30 years ago. Now it's sexy to have them because people are understanding that that is actually helps you. It helps you prevent getting diabetes, for example, is very much linked to muscle mass. Other aging type afflictions are very much helped by having more muscle mass as well.
So for the listeners now, we have mentioned a couple of times that you are a professional athlete in your field. Maybe you could just mention what you do and at what rank you are, so people can really understand that you know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm not a professional athlete. I'm you know, but I'm a swimmer. I swim masters, and I compete at a pretty high level. I am ranked in the top 10 worldwide. I went to the World Championships this year. They're held every other year, and I walked away with 2 gold and 2 silver. And I just set a world record with my relay for a relay with my team on a relay about a month ago. And you know, I train pretty hard to stay at the top of my game with that, and I really enjoy it. So it's something that gives me a mission, it gives me a goal, it gives me camaraderie, it gives me community. It is fun, I enjoy it, and you know, it's a really good challenge for me. So I end up in the weight room, I end up on my spin bike, I end up hiking, I end up swimming. You know, I love being in shape. I also really love to ski, and I like to ski hard and fast and steep and powdery. And so in order to do that, I need to be really strong and have really good balance. And I really train for that all year.
Yeah. Yeah, you are really a great example. You are like the foster child for how all 60 plus people should be, I guess. Well, anyway, what's the most common concerns you help your clients with, and how does your approach empower them to overcome these challenges?
I think it's one or two things. Either people have been afflicted with something, whether that is cancer or diabetes or a neurodegenerative disease like Parkinson's, or they're having some beginning Alzheimer's issues or dementia that's sneaking in. And so they or their family realizes that they need help in order to stave off the disease or to recover from something. And so I come in to kind of get them back either to where they were, but really optimally to support them in staying stronger, having better balance, being able to have better endurance, and to get back to life. So that's one part of my clientele. The other are people that just want to keep doing the things that they want to do, and they're really afraid. You know, they have friends that broke a hip because they fell, you know, because they went hiking or skiing or walking the dog or walking on the beach or walking in Europe on uneven terrain, etc., etc. And they realize, wow, you know, I could be next. And that was super devastating for my friend. So how do I prevent that? And I think there is a thought pattern now that is a little bit more out of the box, where people are realizing they have to do things. You know, it's not me as a physical therapist sitting there with them counting repetitions. It's about me giving them a program and people being self-motivated to do that and getting into habits of doing that. Just like they're in a habit of brushing their teeth, they need to be in a habit of taking care of their balance and their strength and their endurance. And, you know, I can pave that way for them in a safe way and meet them at the needs that they have, you know, whether that is return to running program, or whether that is doing a small triathlon or a 5K run or anything else athletic they want to do, or if that is merely being able to make it through the day, being safe with their cane, being able to go out with their friends, going out with, going to performances of their grandchildren, things like that, and not being afraid that they can't manage the environment. So I meet people at all ages and levels, and age is not necessarily correlative with where people are physically. I have people that are in their 80s that are really, really in great shape. And unfortunately, I have some people that have had some not so great medical challenges that they're overcoming, but they're super motivated, and they're making incredible process with that and progress.
And you do help clients both personally, touch base sort of in the same room, but you also do some counseling on online, I think.
Yes, I actually have some clients in Europe and across the United States that I really I set up programs for them on a virtual basis. We Zoom, and I sent them programs to do. I give them video clips of what to do. Again, I really meet people where they're at. Sometimes it's people that have tried a million times to lose 30 pounds, and they really need to lose 30 pounds. And how do you do that? And this might just be another way to do that. But yes, if I am physically in the area, which, I live in Southern California, then I do see people one-on-one as well.
And also, just as a side info for the listeners, viewers here, you do sound very American, but originally you're from Switzerland.
Correct. I am actually currently in Switzerland, taking care of my parents. And I've been here quite a bit this year, and my parents are actually originally Dutch, so I speak Dutch and German, but I've lived for a very long time in the United States. I went to college there and got my education there. I have my family there. I have 2 grown sons. And
what you're telling now is actually some of the, I mean, this is your trending thing. You have bold decisions, and they are shaping your path. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not afraid.
No.
And I say yes. So when somebody asks me to do something, it's rare that I would flat out say no. I would probably say yes and then think about it. And then there might be a time when I would say no, like I would not jump out of an airplane with a parachute. That I'm not going to do. But, I've done some really crazy things, and I've always in my life kind of said yes. I've been very fortunate to have had a very solid upbringing and being very confident in life and knowing I have a place to land. I have a really, really wonderful husband. We've been married for 30 years, and we have each other's back, and we have so much fun together, but also support each other so much in what we each want to do to develop as a person, and encourage each other to be better versions of ourselves, I guess. I've got 2 sons. One is getting married next month, so that's been a big part of my life.
So could you share a moment when taking a risk transformed your life or your business? Can you think of any specific things?
Well, I think I took a big turn about 8 years ago when I decided I really wasn't a fit in traditional medicine, because I was too much of a patient advocate. And I always have the opinion in business that and in life, when you do the right thing and you're ethical, everything will work out. And so I started to be very conflicted in some pretty big jobs that I had, where I was put in situations that were really challenging my ethical barometer. And I had to bow out of that. And I made a very big commitment to only work either with companies or within teams that are extremely ethical. And that's the barometer that I set for myself. So I did jump, but it's been a really great decision. So that's one. The other one would be when I came to the United States to go to college and I didn't speak any English. That would be one. And I figured, well, I'll learn it, which I guess I did. So, I've done some kind of crazy things. I decided it was okay to have a career and continue to really work at the edge of my career, even though I was a mom. And I was a really good mom and I was there for my kids. And, at the time that wasn't so sexy either. A lot of my colleagues, they stopped working for a little bit or they scaled down to part-time. And I never really did do that. I kind of made it all work and had a lot of fun with it. And I also have always prioritized my health. So, to a point where people might have thought of that as being selfish, but I have always programmed my time when my family was most important, and I always had time for my workout or what I needed to do. And when my kids were in school, I would do it in the middle of the day and at my lunch hour, and I would just take a longer lunchtime and I would make, I'd make a little less money, but I was healthy. And same with vacations. I've always been under the opinion, even before it became popular, that having balance in life and work-life balance was a really important thing. And I think that's why I still really, really love what I do. And I still want to keep learning more about what I'm doing. I feel I'm squarely in a space that is just blowing up, health span and healthy active aging it's where it's at. We have the largest population in the world that are growing older and want to be healthy and have really big expectations. And so, and there comes that life-work balance thing. And I'm still really excited about that because I balance it with doing other things. And I just, as you know, I was telling you, I just hiked for 8 days in Scotland, and I hiked 96 miles in 7 days, but it was amazing. So, balance.
Yeah, I was going to ask you for those thinking about aging up well, what steps they could take now to prioritize their health. And you didn't like the word longevity, so vibrant lives or whatever you should say. But you already sort of covered it in what you said.
Well, let me explain why I don't like the word longevity.
Yeah.
Because, longevity implies that you wake up in the morning and you have another day in this life. And that is not always a positive thing, as hard as that is to say.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know who you are, you don't know who the people around you are, or you cannot move, and you are completely dependent and really have not a quality of life, then longevity might not be what we are striving for. We're really and a long lifespan. We have covered that quite well with school medicine at this point. We can keep people alive for a really long time. But what we have not done very well is increased a health span. And so I think I much prefer that word, to have people really age in a healthy way and decrease the rate of aging. So that's where the redox comes in, of course. And, I also have never been a person that makes New Year's resolutions or birthday resolutions, because I think every day is a good day to start a new good habit. And, if you do a little bit more activity tomorrow than you've done before, you're doing really well. And that all piles up over the year, but you've got to be active. You need to move. It's the most important thing. It's for your mind and your body. Reciprocal movement is key You want to not fall. You want to have good strength and balance. Again, movement. So to me, those are the really big things. And then having a really good look at what medications you're taking in the pharmaceutical collection, that and your supplement collection, that what is really necessary, what is really helpful, what can you do without or less if you make some other healthy choices. And sometimes there is, you may not need to eat the dessert, and then you can do a little bit less of your diabetic medicine. So keeping your cellular structures healthy is really, really important. And there's so many ways to do that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Arlette, for sharing your incredible journey and insights today. And it's really inspiring to hear how you're helping people age up well and live vibrant lives. So I encourage everyone tuning in to consider how you can apply Arlette's advice into your own lives. And every step, as she says, towards prioritizing your own health counts. So if you'd like to learn more about Arlette and her work and how she can help you, you should check out the links that I will add into the caption description below. And then it's time for me to say thank you very much. And thank you for joining today. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with your network. And until next time, let's continue pursuing our next level in leadership and wellness. Take care.